I think I've been tricked, and the worst thing about it was I suspected they were trying to trick us, but I allowed it to happen. So it's very much Tim Steidten 1, Gio 0. However, I think it was more of an own goal on my part rather than a screamer from the Scarf Man. Certainly that's applicable to the case of Niclas Füllkrug. Now, over the last couple of days, I've been back up in Scotland visiting some people, and every now and again I'll check my phone throughout the day, see what the latest is, and it kept on changing. It's been very difficult to keep up to date with Duran, Summerville, Wan-Bissaka, Fullkrug, and there's been some other transfer rumours thrown in there as well, for some more curveball, just in case you weren't struggling enough to keep up to date. There were some extra ones thrown in. However, we've travelled through the night so I could get back, have a good day at work on Friday, and, save a bit of money. Meant we didn't have to get a hotel room on Thursday night. You can take the man out of Scotland and all that. So, I'm quite confident this is the latest on Wan-Bissaka, Duran, Summerville and Niclas Füllkrug as I record this at 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. So, let's start with Summerville, because I don't think there's any tricking going on here. They thought they tricked me actually. 1-1 I made it 1-1 here. Because it came out it was 25 million for Summerville, didn't it? And then it's 25 million fee plus add-ons, which takes up to 35 million if all are complete. Now, I believe there's a substantial fee in there if he wins an international cap for the Netherlands. Whether that's friendlies included or only competitive games for the Euros, World Cup, the qualifiers as well, and of course the Nations League. But I think there's a substantial payment to Leeds if he represents the Netherlands. So it could go as high as 35 million if it's an incredibly successful transfer. So when I saw 25 million, I thought this is impressive. I'm happy with that one. That's a little bit of a bargain actually. Then you get the add-ons put on. Actually, it's quite a fair transfer fee in the end. Now, credit to Tay for this one on Twitter. He was the first one I seen call us being linked to Summerville. The Express employee did an update during the week saying he was our #1 target for that left wing role because we sort of allowed Jota Silva go to Nottingham Forest when he was linked to Forest and going there, and it was the latter stages for quite a low fee. I was a bit surprised we didn't enter the running, but there's always a reason for these things. I thought, well, that would suggest we've got something lined up or someone lined up. I just wasn't sure who, but I think Tay was the first one to the Summerville news. And in regards to the details of the transfer, it was him that put up that it was 25 million or just under 25 million. And a handful of minutes later, Fabrizio Romano put up a very identical tweet to what Tay had done. So credit to Tay for being first on the Summerville one. So the latest is he's done the majority of his medical, part 1 they call it, and that was done yesterday. Part 2 today. All being well, he'll be a West Ham United player, could be announced tonight. And if it's done quick enough, he may fly out to America to meet up with the squad ahead of that game against Crystal Palace. A very tight and short turnaround, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's having his medical now as I record this on Friday morning so they can get him on that plane. Feels a little bit drastic. I appreciate it's pre-season, you want to get him linked up with the team as soon as possible, but he'd only be there for 24 hours or something like that, and there's a case of back on a plane, back to England. I think perhaps just leave him in London. You'll see the team. I assume they're coming back on Sunday, Monday. You'll see the team then, and then we've got Celta Vigo. And plus, it's not like he hasn't had a pre-season. He's been preparing for the Championship with Leeds United, and their season kicks off next weekend or a week earlier than the Premier League. So arguably, out of everybody in the squad, he's had the most pre-season so far. So I've got no concerns in him being ready. He's just bonding with the first team and gelling with the squad as it is. But I'm not sure meeting them and then jumping straight into friendly against Crystal Palace is the way to do that. So I'm pretty calm about this. I'm quite confident Summerville will become a West Ham United player, and I'm quite excited by it as well. And it throws a real curveball actually in terms of predicting what Lopetegui is going to be doing next season. This is a topic for its own video. What is the plan here with Summerville, Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen? And I know a lot of people want to see Paqueta in the midfield too. I'm still not comfortable with it. Some games perhaps, but certainly not every game. But then that means you're leaving out Ward-Prowse and Souček and Irving and Potts. There's a lot of players sort of making way for the attacking talent at West Ham. I'm intrigued and I like it. I like having as many possibilities as we can in terms of attacking options and defensive options as well. But especially attacking. I think defensive, you need consistency. You want to have a centre-back pairing that play alongside each other as long as possible in the league, and the same can be said for full-backs and the goalkeeper, just for that understanding and to form a unit. But in terms of the attacking side of it, I think you can get away with being a bit more flexible and making more changes game by game. So plenty of options for Lopetegui once Summerville's done, because I'm quite confident it will. I don't think there's any tricking going on here. The club just did really well to keep it quiet for as long as they did. Now moving on to Wan-Bissaka, nothing's really changed. He featured for Man United in a pre-season friendly a couple of days ago. Not a big deal as far as I'm concerned. They're lacking fullbacks at the minute, but also they have to assume that we will not sign Wan-Bissaka, because we've been doing this negotiations for quite some time now. We're the ones dragging our feet here and refusing to bump the valuation up. It's us that's the problem. We're trying to get a good deal out of Man United. I understand it. I think the patience game is working because they're trying to get Mazraoui in, but they need to sell Wan-Bissaka first. But as a result of it, I think it may make Man United a little bit suspicious as to how much we want to sign Wan-Bissaka and if a deal will be done. They have to carry on the assumption Wan-Bissaka is a Man United player and the season kicks off next weekend, and that will require Wan-Bissaka being available. It's not next weekend, is it? There's still 2 weeks, isn't there? Next weekend's a championship. It's 2 weeks ago. Summerville. He's confused me. So in 2 weeks, the Premier League season returns. So Wan-Bissaka might be a Man U player then. They have to crack on. But also, I don't mind it. It just means that he's getting pre-season minutes under his belt. So if we do sign him this week, he's had adequate game time thus far, and we've only got one friendly left anyway. So I think it's actually a good thing he's playing for Man U. The only bad thing is they're all getting injured. All their players are getting injured in pre-season. Rasmus, Lauro, Rashford. Leave Wan-Bissaka alone, because I really want him at West Ham. I still remain confident that deal gets done. I still remain confident that we will sign Wan-Bissaka. However, in the case of Niclas Füllkrug, I am not too sure. This is where they're being a little bit tricky, and it's sort of hard to read a little bit. That's what I'm going to discuss in a second, because I keep changing my mind. Before I do, if you're new to Hammer Chat, please do subscribe. It's free, it takes 2 seconds. Be nice to hit 40,000 before the season kicks off in 2 weeks' time, not 1 week time. 40,000, be nice. So subscribe if you're new around here, and please do drop a like on the video, like and thumbs up. Now, in the case of Niclas Füllkrug, when it came out Tuesday, this rumour come out. Nah, not having it. Me and Gonzo sat there. Don't believe it. Not having this. Durmesh was saying it's on. Plettenberg and Patrick Berger were saying he's not interested. This ain't happening. They've changed their tunes. Wednesday, they changed their tune. Actually, yeah, he's open to it now. A deal could be struck between West Ham and Dortmund. And I fell for it. I went, yeah. It looks like we might get Fullkrug, because it added up. Going for a lower cost striker in order to accommodate the signing of Summerville, it just fitted with my own narrative as confirmation bias. It's as simple as that, because I thought the only reason we get Fullkrug is if we're using the money elsewhere in the squad. 24 hours later, here's Summerville, and I thought, that's it. I've cracked it. 2-1 Steidten, I think, here. It may become 2-0, but I think it's 2-1 at the minute, because I started to believe this Niclas Füllkrug thing. Now, the latest reports are Dortmund want 30 million euro. We're willing to pay 25 million euro. Too expensive. That's too much. Works out at 25 million pound or whatever. They paid 15 or just under 15 for them 12 months ago. I think a fair fee is for them to get that back. 15 million from West Ham. I think that's a fair fee. I think we're doing all right out of it. They're doing all right out of it. Anything north of 15, I'm starting to feel it's a little bit pricey. Not for the player, just because of everything. His age is being the main thing, because it's a little bit of a write-off, isn't it? You sign him, whatever you sign him for, you're not getting any money back. He's probably seeing out his contract at West Ham. There's a small possibility we'll get a couple of seasons, might be able to move him on for 3-4 million with 1 year to go. Somebody might pick him up, because he doesn't rely on pace. I think as you get older, the one thing you perhaps lose more than anything is your speed. He ain't a speedy player in the first place, so he's not got that. He's an intelligent, hard-working player. Build up play is really good. His passing's good. Fantastic in the air. All that, I imagine, will still be applicable when he's 32, 33 and 34 years old. I think he will still have those assets, so he can still go on comfortably into his mid-30s and be a really good player. But I just think anything over 15, I'm starting to think Dortmund are getting the better part of the deal here rather than West Ham. So that's the official rumours. However, the giveaway yesterday, and there was suspicion. Tuesday, when this first came out, there was a lot of suspicion from a lot of people. It wasn't just myself, loads of people said this. Just don't believe it. This is a ploy to get Villa to drop their price for Duran. And the dead giveaway, initially, because I made a joke about this, but it's true. The reports coming out from the West Ham side of things on Wednesday morning. West Ham have walked away from Duran, but our offer remains on the table. Well, that's not walking away, is it? That's a final bid. Walking away is I'm off, and that offer is no longer there. I'm going out that door, and I'm taking it with me. Now I'm going out the door, but that's there. Give me a ring. Give me a ring. You fancy a little bit of that? Give me a ring. So we didn't walk away. We refused to make an increased bid on our previous one. That's all we did. Then this Fullkrug rumour come out, but I started to believe it in the last. Prior to yesterday, on Wednesday, I started to believe this. Thought, all right, actually, because the German reporters were changing their tune, actually there is something. But the giveaway yesterday was this tweet by Sean Whetstone, who we know has good links with the club. He's got really good links with the club, so when he puts stuff out there, usually it's really reliable. However, it can also be a little bit mischievous. Now, I actually think Sean's got good intentions here. I don't think it's... I know people say clickbait, but there's no link. Sean doesn't benefit off the back of that tweet. If anything, it's the opposite. He's going to get abused for doing it. So I think Sean knew what he was doing was putting out fake news. I think he knew it. But I think he did it to try and aid West Ham. I think he had the right intentions here, which was let's get this rumour going that Fullkrug will be coming to West Ham. He's going to be getting on a private jet today. And it's to try and get Villa to believe it. It's trying to pull Villa in, say that offer on the table. Do you want it now? Because if we've got an alternative flying over to London. Unfortunately, Aston Villa apparently haven't budged. But to give away, if that wasn't enough from Sean, yesterday afternoon, Dortmund live streamed their training, and in their training session, there was Niclas Füllkrug. So there was definitive proof he got on no private jet. He's not close to joining West Ham. He's cracking on with his pre-season at Dortmund as he should as well. So I think it's a case of Aston Villa 4, Tim Steidten 0 at this point. He might be beating me. He's edging it against me at the minute. But Aston Villa are thrashing Tim Steidten with this Duran thing. They ain't budging. 40 million or you can do one. And I've seen reports come out yesterday saying they're willing to drop their price to €30 million. I mean, that's just not real because £30 million, why would they even do that? We bid 32 plus Lewis Orford. Why would they go, do you know what? Let's call it 30. It's not happening, is it? If Villa drop their price, it will be down to 35 at the lowest. And there might be other means of compensation there, which would be the sell-on clause. So if it was 10%, then they now might want 20%. If it was a sell-on clause of profit only, it might become a sell-on clause of the overall transfer rather than just the profit element. I'm changing my mind, right? I'm flip-flopping. I've gone back to Duran. I was never convinced it was off. I was never convinced Duran was off. I was just convinced Fullkrug was on. I'm changing my mind again. I think it's off. I don't think it was ever on. It was just a big ploy to try and get Villa to move on Duran. It's not worked. I think we might have to go back to Villa. A little bit embarrassed that our game of chicken hasn't worked. It's worked in other cases, like Summerville. I think we've done well there. It's not worked for Duran. I think we're going to have to accept it, admit it. And if we do want him, I think we're maybe going to have to pay what Villa want. And it will be 5-0 Aston Villa at this point. So to summarise, Wan-Bissaka, not close but possible. However, I'm confident it gets done. Summerville, very close, should be done. I'm very confident it gets done. Duran, nowhere near close. However, I'm quite optimistic it gets done. Fullkrug, it all depends on who you believe. Good luck, because you might be tricked, but you might just know the truth as well. Anyway, that's it. That's your Friday update. Gonz will be back a little later on today, and then I should be back later on tonight. And then tomorrow night, Sunday morning, midnight, 11:30 we go live. 11:30 Saturday night, we are live on this channel with the build-up and watch along to our friendly against Crystal Palace. So if you're kicking around, please do come and join me. And hopefully we don't have a delay, because last time I had to discuss crisps and music in order to fill the gap of the delay. Anyway, before you disappear, please do drop a like on it if you're new around here. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat as well. Both things are free. It takes a handful of seconds. I'll catch up with you later.